What's going on YouTube? This is going to be a Zeus synergy guide. Now, Zeus got a nerf in the most recent patch, but I still think it's viable. I've been kind of getting back into it a little bit more, and it's not nearly as strong as it was a patch or two ago, but I think it's still usable, especially in lower elos. People won't know how to counter it as well. Now, Zeus, the beautiful thing about Zeus is that it does both impact and magic damage always. Right, like the ability to cover both impact and magic makes it almost unbeatable in some ways, right? Like it's always going to be strong on fortified and arcane waves, and it's also always going to be decent on swift waves at the least, and pretty good on natural waves. I think the important thing to know though is what makes Zeus good. Okay, so the biggest things are it gains mana for every attack, right? So an increase in attack speed helps with its spam of its ability, as well as it has a relatively low mana cap, so something like Starcaller is really good with it. So I'd say if you have either Disciple or Disciple for Starcaller, or APS for Zeus, you're looking pretty good. If I had to choose one of the two, Disciple, because that again, it gives you some pierce damage that's a little bit more consistent, as well as it makes it so you shoot more spams quicker, more abilities quicker. If I had to choose one of those two, Disciple for buffing the Zeus. If you're looking for something to help you out on, say, like Wave 7, Rangers are really good because, one, they give you that pierce damage that I was talking about with Disciple and APS. And then they also give you the debuff they give, right? Oh, I'm going to buff it up to a Daphne. So all attacks are amplified on a single unit. So if you have both the Zeus and the Daphne targeting, like let's say a Wave 10 boss, you do an absolute insane amount of damage per second. Because it's doing more per hit. You're going to need something to help you out on 3 with Zeus, right? So Steed Zeus is also a synergy that can be utilized. It's not necessarily like the best synergy for Steed, but if you have something like Zeus Disciple with Steed, it's a pretty solid option. It gives you pretty good DPS. You have some arcane tanks for early, right? Helps you buff the Zeus early, gives you ability to hold a little bit better on some waves. It might be Gargoyle to help you out on 3 and 7, right? Late game, you need to really have a good fortified tank. Boar is still really good with Zeus. I've got a couple videos that I've got on my channel of me still using Boar Zeus in this current patch, and it still can melt waves. Boar is still probably my most used unit for late game tanking. It has the same thought process as the rest of these units. It just synergizes and helps cover Zeus's weak waves. For the most part though, Zeus with some type of good pierce damage and you're solid. If you have something to help you answer for 7, you're looking good. And then tanks, right? You can make Zeus be your only DPS and be pretty much fine throughout the entire game. Outside of potentially on like 17 if you don't have Boar or something to help you with damage there. For the most part though, Zeus still good, just I think isn't overpowered. If you have questions on like ways to make Zeus better, let me know in the comments, and I can try to go in a little bit more depth, whether it be screenshots, etc., in another video. But I think this kind of covers Zeus in general. I think it kind of covers Zeus in general. Good question from chat. How many Zeus would you aim for in a game? Like most synergies, I try to go for a full 6 ring and then go for more tanks. Right? I try to go for like a 6 stack and then go more tanks. It depends though on if you have other DPS units or not. If you've got something like Zeus by itself with no Daphne, no APS, you might need to like look into another type of pierce damage. But yeah, that's kind of it. APS always on the Zeuses in this situation because the attack speed buff is more beneficial on the unit like Zeus because it gets that extra magic damage out. Daphne in this slot doesn't really need it. Daphne is pretty good DPS, I guess, but it's not anything too crazy, right? You get the attack speed bonus with the Zeuses, and it's a ton better. It also attacks fast already, which, again, means more of that spell getting out. If you want to counter Zeus early, question from chat from Wing, it's going to depend on what they have. The majority of the time, Lizards early game counter most Zeus plays, but if they've got a good fortified tank, you kind of got to play around it. The biggest thing you can do is honestly send Safety Mole, or like Fiend Turtle if they're good tank wise. That just negates their damage, their tank. The damage that the Zeus gives to the wave. Lizard early because you can leak someone potentially with Zeus if they don't have enough value. I'm going to call this one though. I think this is a pretty good base synergy guide on Zeus. Check out my positioning video if you want to see how you should position where Zeuses are in relation to your back line, your front line, etc. Hope if you enjoyed this video, you give it a like, subscribe to my channel for more awesome content, comment if you have any questions, and I'll catch you guys next time.